What's your favorite rhythm to play?
My favorite rhythm. I'm gonna put this out so I can do it for you. Um, Now I have to say, I used to do a lot of I used to go to a lot of raves. So like, I'm a big fan of like all the DJs like Tiesto, Zed, Calvin Harris, and all of them. So anything with four on the floor, you know, like
Yeah.
anything like that
Okay.
is my favorite.
Okay.
Anything that drives, you know.
You're a drummer and also a producer. What motivates your inspiration?
Okay, so what really motivates me is when I really started touring a lot, being in a huge arena or a stadium, you know, and playing a hit song where maybe the drums start off first, just to see the reaction of the people, yo. That energy, like Superstition. Stevie
Yeah.
Wonder's song Superstition starts off with. When people hear that, they
They're
know what it
excited.
is
Yeah.
from the gate. And to hear, you can actually see everybody. If people are sitting down, you can see the whole arena just stand up, and the whole arena just like,
And that gives you power and
yeah, it
okay.
feels good. It feels good to feel that, you know, that
Yeah.
energy, man. I love that.
Okay.
That's my favorite thing.
You
So it motivated me to be a producer as well because I wanted to create records, you know, that will get that same response from people in the audience.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
You develop a lot of styles on the drums with your own signature. What is your advice in terms of work to achieve this?
Believe it or not, yo, I remember one thing that Dennis Chambers, I think he said, and I hope I'm right about this, but I remember Dennis Chambers was saying that, you know, everybody, all the drummers are starting to sound the same. And the reason why is because of technology. You can see everybody's stuff so quick. You know, back in the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, we didn't have Wi-Fi, we didn't have internet. So you were forced to really go shed by yourself and to create your own rhythms, your own licks, your own style, your own sound. So that's what I would say. I would say, you know, like if everybody could shed alone by themselves for a while, you know, I think it's cool to share with the homies and everybody, but I think that everybody tends to sound the same. All the licks and all the tricks and even some of the grooves, they all sound the same. But if, you know, I practice by myself a lot. That way, you know, I'm gonna tune my drum different than this guy, or, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna play this groove different than this guy. My feel is gonna be different than this guy. So I feel like if a lot of drummers coming up now, if they would take time to themselves and just shed by yourself and create, you know, even all the way to the setup, like the setup of the drums. Like I created this whole setup that I have now from just being by myself and playing to where I'm comfortable instead of me really like, you know, taking ideas from other people. Don't get me wrong, I did, you know, have some ideas and motivation from other guys, of course, but me being by myself and really, you know, finding out Stanley's sound, you know what I'm saying? Stanley's setup, Stanley's vibe, you know. Yeah.
I saw you put off your resonance hats on your toms.
Yeah. Well, that was motivation from Stevie Wonder and Greg Fillinganes.
The sound
Now,
of the 80s, maybe?
Well, of course, of
Okay,
course.
yeah.
Now, I've had the pleasure of recording in Stevie's studio, and you know, one of the kits that he really used on the album from the 70s, it didn't have any bottom heads. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, even growing up as a small kid in church sometime, you know, some drummers back in the day, they didn't have bottom heads.
Yeah.
Maybe because they couldn't afford them, or who knows, I don't know. But certain kits, and people know what I'm talking about, certain kits that were not really like professional and up to par, you know, they had a bunch of tape on the heads, you know what I'm saying? They couldn't afford the muffling. So they taped it. They took paper towels and taped it, and they didn't have bottom heads. Or even sometimes the kick drum in the front didn't have a front head, but it gave it a certain sound, you know what I'm saying? There's always those certain kits that might be beat up and beat the shit, but when you play them, they got a certain vibe, you know what I'm saying? Even in the studio, it would sound amazing. Yeah, that's why my motivation, when I did the tour Songs in the Key of Life, Greg Fillinganes had that conversation with me. He was like, you know, man, like, let's try to really like zone into like what, you know, what Stevie used or how he created this sound in his record. So I was like, you know what, man, I've been to the studio, he didn't have no bottom heads. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, take them off.
Yeah.
And instantly, as soon as I take them off, it created this thud. It was still a tone, but it was like a thud. that, you know what I'm saying, you hear on the record, because Stevie's drums are just like, they're thuddish, they're, you know, it's a tone there, but it's still like a certain vibe. So I've made it part of my whole vibe now because I'm used to it now. So that's my thing. And I haven't seen a lot of other people doing it, so I feel like it made me stand out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Would you have an anecdote to tell us when you toured with Stevie Wonder?
I know everybody always asks me all the time, is he really blind? You know, some people don't think he's blind. Some people think he can see, but he's definitely blind. Have you ever seen a blind man run?
No.
Well, yeah. There was this one incident where Stevie was flirting or whatever with one of his friends, and he did this whole thing where he like kind of like he does this thing where he like, you know, does you on the neck like that or whatever, and he did it to his friend, and then he run. Like, you know, Stevie has a person that's walking him, you know what I'm saying? So the person that's walking him also had to run. So to see both of them running at the same time, you know, it was funny to me.
Yeah.
And he's a blind dude, so that was just funny.
Who are the drummers who influenced you?
Man, I came up in a day where you had Jeff Porcaro, you had Dennis Chambers, which I met him in person for real. Which Dennis Chambers gave me my, he signed my first pearl snare that I ever had. It was a black wood grain pearl snare with like 6 plies of maple on the inside. It was when they used to have the gold badge, the Masters custom gold badge. It was like a rectangle. But he signed a drum. But Dennis Chambers, Dave Wuckel, a lot of Dave Wuckel. I remember getting hip to Dave Wuckel when I was in high school, probably like 10th or 11th grade, and he changed my life. You know, as far as drumming and everything, because even, you know what I'm saying, the culture of his drumming back then, you know, I didn't know what Dave Wuckel looked like. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that he was a white guy or whatever. You know, I just heard his music and I was like, man, this dude, he got soul, he got vibe. And I thought he was a black dude until I really like saw a drum video, and it was like, it's a white guy with a mullet. You know what I'm saying? But he's kicking ass on drums. So, yeah, Dave Wuckel was a lot. Steve Gadd. Yeah. Steve Gadd, I respect him so much because he's one of the most. You'll hear Steve Gadd on a lot of records. He is in the studio a lot. You know what I'm saying? I've heard that whole story about him. You know, being in the studio and looking at a chart, and then taking a break, going to smoke a cigarette, and then come in and play the song down with no mistakes one time. You know what I'm saying? I heard that a lot. Like, he did that a lot. So Steve Gadd was a big influence. Terry Bozzio. Terry Bozzio was coming up around my time. Now, those are that era of guys. But I also have some guys like Calvin Rogers, Liddell Abrams, Jeremy Haynes, Chris Coleman. Yeah, the list goes on. It's a lot. You know, it's a lot of guys. Brian Fraser Moore. I gotta mention Brian Fraser Moore. Brian Fraser Moore was a big part of my drumming come up, yo. I used to listen to Brian Fraser Moore on Usher, the artist Usher, Usher Live. Usher used to always put out a live CD or a live DVD of whatever album he was doing at the time. And Brian Fraser Moore played one of the, I think it's Usher's first live CD, Usher Live. Brian Fraser Moore, Alex Evans, Vidal, Brian Fraser Moore, he killed that album, killed that joint.
Do you have a drummer's tip that you want to share with us?
A drummer's tip?
Yeah.
If you're a drum collector like me, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people, a lot of guys out there who collect drums. If you could take one of your kits and never change the heads, I would tell you to do that, because there's something in a drum kit that just ages. It's like good wine, you know what I'm saying? Wine, the older it gets, the better it's supposed to taste. If you have a kit that's just like, you know, it's aging and it's aging, if you was to leave the same heads on there, I have a kit right now where I haven't changed the head in like 10 years.
Wow. It's a question of control?
Well, it's honestly, I really can't even tell you. I don't really know the science behind it, but I just know it sounds amazing. Like the it has the same tone. I only have to really tweak it a little bit to, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause
and
of
it
course,
matches with the shell and
it just is the same thing. And of course, I don't beat the shit out of those drums because I want the heads to stay durable. But I use that kit in the studio a lot, and I always get great results, great responses. People, they wonder what kind of kit that is. You know what I'm saying? I have two of them. I have an old DW kit and I have an old Pearl kit, and I haven't changed the heads on them at all. And they sound amazing. So I would give that as a tip. If you can afford more than one kit or more than snare drums exactly. If you can afford more than one snare drum, and you have a bunch of snare drums, yo, like take one or two of them and never change the heads, yo, and watch how amazing it'll sound over time.
Great. Yeah. Thank you for that tip.
For sure.
And 3 words to define DW drums.
3 words that define DW drums?
Yeah.
Man. DW drums, yo, are to me, they make me, what's the word I would say? Or 3 words, I would say keep it simple. Keep it simple. DW drums sound so good to me. You know what I'm saying? At first, I'm not gonna lie, at first I was a Pearl guy, you know. The weight of the Pearl drums gives it a certain volume and all that stuff, you know. But DW drums are so good to tweak EQ wise, that, you know, dynamics and everything are amazing on DW drums. So it's easy for me to keep it simple, you know what I'm saying, especially in a big arena, and the tone and everything, it cuts through. So I would say DW drums remind me to keep it simple.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Man, I've thought about that before too. I would say fly.
Yeah.
If I had a superpower, yo, I would want to fly, yo. Yeah. To have the ability to just, like, you know, stand up right now and just take off. Yo, I love that. Yeah.
And your favorite swear word?
My favorite swear word? Bitch. That's my favorite swear word. Bitch.
Thank you, man.
For sure,
Thank
man.
you.
All right.
Thank you. That was great.